My face currently feels like I've been run through by Tom Stewart.
Puts it to the top of the square. Oh, beautiful little fist in there by Dale. Crucial centimetre moments.
He definitely has a bit of the Belcho spirit. As I have a bit of the Belcho spirit.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Back Pocket Podcast, where we believe in the sanctity of opening round and we will be giving votes, unlike a certain star-shaped award the AFL has deemed will not be being awarded this week.
Max Krzyzewski robbed.
Robbed. My name is Alistair, that's Jack over there.
That's me.
And we're going to talk about footy.
Yeah, and I mean, unlike Craig McRae, if they want to invite me to Sydney next year in early March, I will go if they pay my trip.
And I promise not to yell at a man 4 times my size.
Look, if I'm never saying anything aggressive to anyone who looks like Adam Kingsley ever. It was so funny how quickly he sat down.
Yeah, if you're going to yell at an AFL player who's coming off the bench and you are coaching the opposition team, expect their largest gentleman to walk towards you menacingly.
Sometimes that largest gentleman is the head coach of the opposition team, and you are coincidentally like 5'8" and quite skinny. Yeah, I mean, that was all my things to mention this week, but it was funny. I like how quickly he was like, oh, it was nothing. It was nothing.
I think Kingsley in the media the next day was really good about it.
Yeah, he was very much, it's not on, but there was also nothing in it.
I feel like if there was something untowards, specifically, Kingsley would be the one to front up about it, right?
Yeah, yes.
I only saw the reverse vision of Collingwood coach Craig McRae giving it to a player the other day, and like he does like a cheeky wink at the end, and it does seem like they're just having fun. So
I think the part of it is that obviously they coached together at Richmond for quite a while. So like they used to be co-workers. So there may have just been a bit of like jibing that went too far to it, but especially when like the game where it went from that point, it was funny. Like it was close then.
Do you reckon they sat next to each other on the plane to save space?
I hope so.
Yeah. It'd be easy, right?
Yeah, like big and small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And then the other seats, you got like Bedford next to Briggs, and I like that. It's a good matchup. Anyway, so weekend wrap section's the shortest it's going to be all year. Round the entire 2 grounds that we played at.
Opening round failure.
Yes.
That's what we'll open this section with.
If you had 9 games this weekend and you had to postpone 2, there would have still been 7 games.
You should do sliding doors. If there were 9 games.
If there were 9 games, then there would still have been 7 on the weekend.
So we got 2 games, which was Sydney v Hawthorn.
Yep.
And Collingwood v GWS, but the other way around.
Yep.
It was a Giant Stadium.
Yep.
NG Stadium. I literally, when I was writing down my thing before, even though there were only 2 games, went, what games are on this week?
Yeah.
What did we just watch?
Yeah. One game in which Hawthorn looked really good and one in which Collingwood looked really slow.
Yes. I've got that written down on my little sheet here. The one thing I specifically want to mention is the overhyping of not Hawthorn in general, but Hawthorn's backline.
Yes.
They played against Sydney,
who have Amati
and
McCartan,
who has been redeployed forward, despite being a very good
tricked
key
them all
defender.
with his forward goals in the preseason.
Yeah, and it always happens. So they were very much zoning off the one key and one makeshift key that they had down there. No McLean, no...
In the first half, Battle and Barrass made a lot of errors.
Yes, 3 free kicks directly against Barrass, Battle and Sicily in the first quarter, or at least first and
half
second.
At least, yeah.
That led directly to goals. They got their shit together.
Absolutely. Barrass' second half was really, really good.
But I do not believe that Barrass and Battle look like May and Lever. Thank you, Gary Lyon. For you to say they remind you of Premiership greats and saying, quote unquote, I don't get to watch a lot of West Coast, I think you might have forgotten to watch the 2018 grand final.
Yeah, that was the funniest thing after the game, Sarah Jones being like, you excited to play in front of a packed house at the MCG next week against Essendon? And I was like, he won a grand final against Collingwood. Like, that's the biggest MCG day you can do. It's very funny how, like, so many players, it's like, well, now they play for a Melbourne club. So now we have to talk about them.
It really is. Tom Barrass is getting pumped up in the media because he's finally playing for a Melbourne club.
Winner of the inaugural Scarlett Silvani medal.
We've known he's been good forever.
And his biggest problem, and it was evident again on the weekend, is that if the ball is near his feet, he can't bend his back because it's basically fused together.
Yeah, and that's concerning, but I think they have enough to cover. Scrimshaw's there as well.
Who was very, very good.
Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to bring up from the other game was that Jitterworth's handball game was incredible.
It made the already slow-looking Collingwood look slower.
Yeah, I think there are aspects that will make Collingwood look quicker as the season goes on. One of them is a massive asterisk because it's De Goey and he hasn't played a full season in the last few years, but him in the midfield instead of Pendlebury would make a massive difference. And then Houston delivering the ball off wing and half back will make a huge difference. But
I do worry about the fact that all of their halfbacks aren't defenders.
Yes.
The closest they've got is Quaynor, and he did not play as a defender.
It was a worry. They were in it in all respects but the scoreboard until the last quarter when they completely ran out of gas against a team that had a month less prep. I don't think it's as panic stations as it was on the scoreboard, but my main thing is that I am arguing that more because I'm trying to argue it that Jitterworths aren't as good as people are hyping them up to be after that one game.
They're missing a fair few players.
They are really important.
But that midfield looked dangerous.
Yeah. Callaghan obviously finally getting the role that he was picked for. Very funny that it was Collingwood that traded them that pick for him to play his breakout game against, but that was to make sure they had the Dacos bid, whatever. They were never using pick 3 for Callaghan. But anyway, it was interesting to watch the way that.
Yeah, and I think one thing we need to take into perspective is Scott Pendlebury attended the most centre bounce attendances.
Yeah, more than Darcy Cameron.
Yeah, which is
who shared the ruck duties with McStay more than I thought he would. Reef McInnes isn't a backman. Charlie Den, I think he played in the preseason game, wasn't very good, but
I think I give McInnes some more time.
I agree, but he's kind of been worse than Embry up forward.
He's no Nathan Murphy.
No, and that's the big difference they've had since their grand final year to last year and then this year is that the help Murphy gave more to allow more to play his natural game. Like the criticism of Moore last year was insane considering that he lost all of his support. And they had no Howe for most of last year as well. Like, he just lost all of the support he had.
Did you see they're already coming for more after one game?
Yeah, good, I bet. Even though he had 12 intercepts.
David King asked, would Moore get a game for Hawthorn right now?
Yes. Yep.
They play Sam Frost.
Can you imagine how good he would be in a backline with either Battle or Barras?
Yeah.
We saw how Sicily played on the weekend.
You would trade Battle out immediately for Moore.
Well, Battle could play ruck or forward instead of backline if Moore was in there. Battle looked good against no key forwards with a bunch of other key defenders.
And it'll be interesting because, Port don't have the best keys, but they have keys.
They have keys, so. Yes. My other news, hot topics, Geelong audit, be alarmed, except that it's also Geelong and Port, and that they do this to teams every couple of years.
I think the funniest outcome...
They love panic stationsing it when it's a premiership club.
The funniest outcome of a audit into Geelong and Port would be to find out that Port has been rod in the cap.
And they're like, how, Port? Who did you spend it on?
Look, I think there's definitely smoke and fire, however you want to say that phrase.
For sure. I think... my one thing was, I was like, if Geelong are cheating the salary cap and Hawthorn, Sydney, Collingwood, Brisbane aren't, then Geelong are bad at list management. Brisbane, now that Danaher's got a lot more free money, but last year they had stocks on the list. Geelong's list isn't talented enough to need to cheat the salary cap.
I think the potential cheating would have come more when they were pulling in players.
Yes,
constantly. Your Stevens, your Higgins, your Smiths, Dalhouse, all of that bunch all around the same time, Tui Henderson, for that 5-year period. That's potentially where I would see it. But the real thing for me is the thing that alerted them was the alleged bank loan to Joel Selwood.
Yeah.
That's suspicious to me.
From Joel Selwood.
Sorry. Why? No, I thought
Joel Selwood was going to loan someone $100,000 and they were going to pay him back $110,000. And that guy got arrested for enormous fraud.
Okay, all right. Because the way I read it online, I was like, Joel Selwood should not be allowed to take out a loan because he already has money.
Yeah, no.
I feel like you walk in, they're like, oh, why do you need to take out a loan? And they look at your bank account and you've got $10 million.
Stepped in, I think, at the last moment, they didn't sign it. And this was years before they found out that guy was very dodgy. But I saw there was like 2017 Richmond were looked at, Dustin Martin especially. 2016 Hawthorn were looked at. Like it happens. They look at clubs. If it's a big club, they put it in the news because people will click on it. Port wouldn't make the news because they're like, oh cool, well, they're paying Rosie and Butters. I mean, they're probably on a lot of money, as they should be.
Yeah.
Well, they are paying Radigalia and Brennan Zerk-Thatcher considerable amounts of money.
Keys are more expensive.
They
should have waited 1 year. They could have got Barras and Battle.
I think that next week, if he plays, we need a special Dacos rub-down cam.
That was annoying.
One special camera that just, if he's getting a rub-down, it's on him. It's like press red on the Fox.
I understand that it's alarming for a player to have full body cramp like that. Everyone else around was just getting normal cramps, but he was spasming pretty much from his waist down.
Yes.
And I think it was about the 6th time they cut back to him on the bench. Someone's rubbing his upper thigh. I just kind of said, I'm done with this. This is too much.
It was kind of funny.
He's a 22-year-old man, and we're just watching his close-up of his thighs getting rubbed down by a little old medico.
I don't think I've ever seen play stop for someone having cramp.
No, it's never happened before.
And that's not a criticism of Dacos.
Well, I also don't know if you can have pickle juice on the field, which he also had.
Yeah. But that's like a trainers and umpires fucked up thing. It's not a Dacos problem. But
between goals, you're allowed your water bottles and stuff, but they don't bring that out during the game. So, interesting. But obviously, no mention of it.
It's all good.
No conspiracy. It's Collingwood. Whatever.
Fine.
Last two things I want to mention here. Sad news, really. Lincoln McCarthy doing his second ACL. I saw someone post online sliding doors where if he plays last week, do they do this extra training where he ends up doing his ACL? And obviously anything can happen, but you have to wonder. And the other is obviously Elijah Holland's having to take personal leave, which I think we all know what it means, but...
Yeah, especially with the person in question.
Hopefully they can sort themselves out because they do look quite a talent.
Yeah, his last season, like when he was linking up in the forward line, was amazing. So I hope that they get him back out there. Same as the other person off with personal leave at the moment, Hugo Hagen. Like it's a real shame when these players aren't playing.
Because like as much as I don't want to see my team play against it, Hugo Hagen and Darcy could be the forward combo. A couple of those games that felt like his breakout games last year from Hugo Hagen were enormous. Yeah. Like, he has the full skill set. My other one I had was the Fox Footy rap. If you haven't heard the Fox Footy rap... I thought you meant rap, W-R-A-P.
No,
I was like, what are you talking about?
If you haven't heard the Fox Footy rap and you get a chance to, look it up. I might try and post it in the episode notes.
I think a lot of the...
It's been scrubbed.
Yeah.
The reception was so bad that they just, removed it from as much of the internet as they possibly could. But it is it's so cringeworthy. Like, it's like early noughties... Oh, man. I can't explain it any better than you have to watch it.
Old white man rap.
Yeah, and then
but not like the Northern Boys.
Yeah, no, not in a good way. In a really bad way. Like church pastor rap. Bad. All right. Well, how about votes?
Let's go to the meat of the episode.
We moved them later in the episode so that we've got content first, but less votes this week because there was only 2 games. We're going to do 3-2-1 every bye round this year, and then they took 2 of the games away, so we're doing 3 and 2.
Yeah, it's a bit strange. Back to normal next week.
I think 3 and 1 would have felt odd, so 3 and 2 is best.
2 and 1 seems mean.
Yeah,
like if you've had a best on ground, you deserve at least
especially
a 3.
for the game that I'm pretty sure we're both going to give the 3 to. But how this works, if you haven't tuned in before, is every round we do 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 vote to the best defenders.
Except for this week
and a
couple other weeks.
And at the end of the year, the best defender wins the medal if they want it. We've got call us. I'll get them made.
We gotta just rig the vote to make some small first year player win, and then they'll want it.
Yeah, someone in Perth as well, so we can get it too easily. Anyway, so starting us off, you did the intro, so I do the votes. Mm-hmm. My 2 votes is to Sam Wicks.
Same.
Hell yeah!
We've got the same votes this week.
All right, I actually did do stats for this as well.
Cool.
So,
I anticipated us having the same votes, so I didn't do stats.
okay, I was wondering if you were going to do the same 2 as me. I'm sure we got the same 3.
If we don't have the same 3, I will be genuinely shocked.
So Sam Wicks got 5 coaches' votes as well
Yep.
for his role on Watson, who, as well as his good stat line, kept Watson to 4 touches,
Yep.
0 goals, 0.
Yep.
I think it was nothing in the last quarter, nothing in the first quarter.
I had him penciled in before the coaches' votes. I saw them.
I agree. I checked them after to be like, did he get votes for that? Even on a losing team? Yes. 18 disposals, 6 of which were contested, had a game-high 9 intercepts, 3 spoils, 3 rebounds, 10 defensive half-pressure acts, and 4 score launches. Tagging, basically.
I saw the word tagging thrown around, which I'm not 100% on.
It's a small
He's
defender.
a small defender,
Yeah.
but if he can do that week by week for them and take out
Jedbuse too?
some very dangerous small forwards, very interesting. Like, surely won't do it to Kako in his first game, will he?
Could you imagine? Watson's only a second-year player.
That would
It'd
be
be funny to see him do it to Kako.
It would be crazy
after that preseason game.
But if I'm Dean Cox, it worked this week.
Yeah,
why not do it again?
Maybe that's Wicks's role. Like he's been fighting for that wing role his whole career.
Yeah, wing
never
forward.
made it his own. Maybe this is his position.
Yeah, it looked good. So keep it up, because I remember watching, going, man, it's funny that this is happening to Nick Watson, but also, damn, he's doing a good
And
job.
if McInerney's playing wing forward and Wicks is playing
You
back
might be able to
pocket,
tell them
I might be
apart.
able to tell them apart from the end of the ground they're at. So that'd be helpful. And 3 votes is to Sam Taylor for playing an insane game.
Yeah.
He, remarkably, neither of us picked as our prediction for the Scarlett Silvani medal this year.
Who did I say?
You said Collins.
Sam Collins.
Yeah.
He hasn't played a game yet. Give him a chance.
Yeah, he might get 10 next
Different
week.
Sam.
Yeah. All Sams. Sam Collins, Sam Wicks, Sam Taylor.
Yeah.
He went absolute beast mode, which was admittedly assisted by Collingwood just constantly kicking it to
I
him.
think they're not used to having 3 talls. They're used to just having Maya check, and they've completely thrown everything out the window.
But he had 17 disposals and 7 contested, 12 intercepts, which was a round high.
Yeah, I think 4 of his intercepts in the first quarter were all contested.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
9 intercept marks. We'll get that. We'll get 11 one day. It'll happen one day.
And it'll be someone weird.
Yeah. Of his 13 total marks. I remember it was Jones who hit the 10, and we're like, Jones.
We were like, oh my god,
And
Liam
now he's
Jones is
just
going to
been
hit the 11.
that good ever since. 5 spoils, 5 tackles, 5 rebounds, won both his one-on-ones. Awesome game. And kicked the first goal of the year for GWS as well, just to freak everyone out.
Yeah, I remember his interview where he said, I had no idea what I was doing. I don't know how to kick a
It was
goal.
like the second goal of his career, first one since 2019. Great stuff. Love Sam Taylor. Think Slammer's an incredible nickname as well.
Slammer.
Great nickname.
I love how angry he gets if
Anytime
anything
someone
goes
knocks
wrong.
on him, oh my god.
Doesn't even have to be him.
No, and just within 5 metres of him.
Uh-huh.
Funny.
It's entertaining.
It's like Lever, but with a baby face.
In the preseason match, obviously, Brody Kemp ate him alive, but it's a preseason match, so it doesn't matter. But he was
Livid.
pissed,
Yeah.
and obviously that's translated into him tuning himself up for round 0.
And
or
playing
opening
like one
round,
of the
sorry.
most incredible defensive performances you'll see. Big reason for why Collingwood had so many inside 50s and just couldn't do anything with them, because it was just Taylor every time.
Yep.
Buckley was also very good to support him, as always. Had a couple of special mentions. The Lizard was very good.
Yes.
Had 26 at 80.
Shout out to those 3 people dressed as
Oh,
frillneck
the lizards in the crowd. That guy
at
doing the
SCG.
run. Very good areas. He had 4 one-on-ones and 1 on all as well, which is not a usual part
Unlike
of his
him.
game. 804 metres.
He did have to play a bit more of a key role because McCartan was forward, which is another problem for them. But
But 804 metres gained as well.
yeah,
First game of the year. And then my other one was Jack Scrimshaw.
Yeah.
Who was the best of the new quote-unquote all-star backline. Had the same 9 intercepts Wicks did, with 18 disposals, 6 score involvements as well, and 3 launches.
Yeah.
And then Howe, just as a, before he got injured, he was really, really doing good.
yeah. He was the only
That
Collingwood defender
that spoil
defending.
he put in, that was like, as it went to be safe, just like the
Oh,
perfect
and
between the arm.
through the arm?
That was incredible.
Very good.
He's a huge... it's a real problem for Collingwood that keeping Howe and DeGoey fit is a massive indicator of how well they go this year.
Every year I come into the season amazed at how old Jeremy Howe is, and then I watch him play and I go, no, he's one of the good ones.
He's still just really good.
He will call it before he falls off, I think.
Yes, I think so. We can't do Jonesy's Thursday Night Hero this week because that segment didn't happen. I even went back and checked today.
I think we still do it. We'll explain the segment. I think we still do it, and we watch, and if if they don't do their hero of the week, we can the segment. Come with something new.
Sounds good. Is she going to do it on Thursday or Friday this
Well,
year?
I've written down one for both.
One for each?
Yeah, I reckon
right.
we'll have the same too, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, well, it's usually obvious. So how the segment works is... last year it was Thursday nights, I think, normally, or Friday, whichever was the first game of the week. Sarah Jones, David King, and whoever was on with them would
usually
pick
Montagna,
who they thought was going to have a big night.
Yeah.
And King and Montagna would pick a player who's like in form or struggling for form or, you know, really needs to have a big game or something like that. Maybe if it's Tom Hawkins against Essendon, something like that, you go off like a previous form thing. And Sarah Jones would pick the highest rated player on the ground. So if it's West Coast versus Bulldogs, she'd be like, I think it's a big night for Montebello. And Kingy will be like, oh, you know, Tim Kelly and
Geelong v Richmond. She's like, I think Jeremy Cameron might be onto one tonight.
Jeremy Cameron. And it was always a good laugh in our
Anytime
household,
it's Collingwood, Nick Dacos, she had no...
all right, so Thursday night is Richmond Carlton.
Yeah.
It's a big game for Patrick Cripps.
It's got to be. That's what I've written down.
It's a big game for Patrick Cripps. Like it should be a big game for like Tim Taranto or Nick Vlostone.
Yeah.
But it's a big game for Patrick Cripps.
Yep. Friday night is Hawthorn v Essendon, and she's got to go for Will Day,
It's a big game for Will Day.
It's a big game for Will Day.
Big game for Will Day. Only other option is it's a big game for Zach Merritt.
It would be, like, if she was onto something, she'd say it's a big game for Nick Watson.
Yeah.
Something like that makes sense.
Yeah. Is Darcy Parish playing? Big game for Darcy Parish. He's
Darcy Parish ain't playing.
Or maybe ever again.
No,
he'll be back for Anzac Day. He'll win his medal. He loves a medal.
And right off into the sunset.
He's going to have to have like a bunch of mannequins in his house to hang all of those medals on one day. None of them from September, but just so many medals. There you go. There's my drive-by. One episode.
Took you to get to an Essendon drive-by?
Yeah. Well, I did one last week. I said we'll do one a week.
Oh, okay.
So...
No comment.
I wrote stocks up, stocks down on here.
Yeah. I wrote something down.
You did? All right. What are your stocks up?
I'm treating this segment like they do on every other AFL media, where you're buying stock for one player and selling on another.
Or
now,
I like a concept as well.
I don't have any stocks, and unlike what I said last week, I ain't a gambler.
I used to have stocks, but I sold them to buy a house.
So I'm going to treat it as I have everyone's stocks, or I have none of their stocks. I'm buying one, I'm selling the other. I'm selling stocks on Pendlebury. It's over.
That's fair.
Everyone keeps saying he'll work into the season, and it's possible. But round one, I'm selling my stocks on that. He needs to either move to half back where there's no space for him, or move to half forward where there's no space for him. Can they afford to put him on a wing?
No.
It's
They got better
tough.
wings, I think.
He doesn't want to play VFL. They're going to have to nurse him through. But I don't know where he plays.
I'm selling stock in one of my favourite footballers of all time, in Tim Membry.
Okay, that's fair.
I was very sad watching Tim Membry on the weekend. In the pre-season, I was saying how jarring it was to see him in a Collingwood jumper. I always liked him at St Kilda mostly because they were struggling, and he was always a little bit great and a little bit terrible at the same time.
Some great misses.
The great was kind of gone on the weekend. It was just...
It was a classic Membry moment when he played on in the goal square and got tackled.
Holding the ball, and then kicked it amazingly off the ground through the goals, but it was too late.
Yeah, look, you have to wonder, maybe St Kilda were onto something when they let him go.
Yeah, for free.
Yeah.
Maybe no anyone is better than...
Like, even with Max King being perennially injured.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my sell. Who are you buying stocks
I
in?
reckon our buy is going to be the same.
Oh, yeah.
My buy is Darcy Jones.
Oh, yeah. He was.
I am going straight to the bank and getting my money out.
I'll try and think of someone that's not Darcy Jones then.
He looked amazing.
Brilliant.
The way he bursts with speed and does repeat efforts with pressure. I saw some footage of specifically the way GWS brought their small forwards up to pressure, and then it bounced out over the back and they got away every time. Darcy Jones is huge to that. He should be too small, but he's not.
We talked about the Giants' ability to find a guy and move a guy. The mover guy is obviously Darcy Jones and Finn Callaghan. They've slotted into those roles seamlessly.
And not to say Darcy Jones wasn't good last year.
And find a guy was Grishevsky. A guy who I loved the name of last year. I think that was my only knowledge of him.
I can't spell it.
Looked really good.
It's a good thing we don't do a forwards award.
Yeah, no, Grishevsky, I can say it. but the commentator sure can't. Someone called him Petrevsky at some point.
I think they did.
Anyway, yeah, I think it stocks up Darcy Jones. It has to be. He was sensational.
Yeah, I don't really have anyone else I can.
Yeah, no.
I got nothing.
No,
not even a funny one. So that takes us
stocks
to
up Sam Wicks.
Oh yeah, but I mean,
Sam Wicks. We already gave him votes.
We can't really make everything about defenders, Jack, can we?
No. Well, we can try.
Game of the week?
Game of the week next week. So it's not Thursday or Friday.
It's probably not Thursday or Friday.
Skip past those two. I mean, the obvious one.
There's
Geelong
three
Fremantle,
obvious ones.
Like Geelong Freo has been in Geelong has been a game, even in Perth.
Usually a game,
but they even in Perth have been really good games for several years.
I think it's a double header there because then you've got Sydney Brisbane,
which was game
right
of the
after.
year last year.
I'm settling in.
Not the grand final, but the other one.
Before we go out for burgers on Saturday, I'm settling in watching 2 full games of footy.
And then we go out for burgers while Bulldogs play North.
Violently ill.
While Bulldogs play North, totally fine.
Stay home and watch the Bulldogs, get violently ill. Go eat a food court burger, get violently ill.
And then we come home to watch Collingwood Port. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. They hate each other.
But I'm going to ignore both of those, even though the doubleheader's good.
Skipping.
Melbourne GWS.
Oh, yeah. You've convinced me. I was already a little bit stocks on Melbourne. I was arguing their case
Depending
last
on if there is an issue with Lever or May. I heard some stuff, but I didn't look into it.
There are much better key defenders in that team than GWS played against on the weekend.
Yes. And those two can take advantage of
Grishevsky
and
absolutely
Cadman, who played really well on Moore, but Moore is not
Bailey Fritsch is everything we thought Lockie Schultz was. We
should be selling stock in Lockie Schultz.
We should be selling stock in Lockie Schultz.
Maybe next week when he does it again.
Oh, yeah, because last year we were like, he'll get there.
Only we can't sell too many stocks. So I think that's possibly...
Yeah, I'm keen for that game.
And that brings me to...
So the 2 Saturday games in that?
My new segment, which I didn't tell you about.
Oh, okay.
Biggest blowover. What's going to cause the biggest reaction if it happens? I've written down a couple here. Off the top of my head, I think Richmond winning against Carlton would be
enormous.
Tumultuous. Yep. I think if West Coast beat Gold Coast, that could be huge for Gold Coast season. I also think the same for Essendon beating Hawthorn. If Hawthorn lose to Essendon, all their goodwill gets blown away, right?
Even though that's how they started last year.
But the biggest blowover for me would be if Port beat Collingwood.
At the MCG.
100%.
Despite that game last year being one of the best games of the year. I remember thinking both of those teams were top 4 bound at that point, and Port were. But
can you imagine what Jason Horne-Francis would have done to the Collingwood midfield on the weekend gone?
Like Francis, Rosie, Drew, all way too quick for Collingwood at the moment.
And Drew, obviously defensive.
If Dacos isn't fit, and you've got that midfield. McKenty can play on Houston, despite the fact that I'm not a McKenty guy. That's his role, right?
Is it McKenty or McEntee?
I don't know. Mac and
Call up
cheese.
Hinkley. Mac and cheese.
Get Josh Carr on the phone. Josh, you're coming in as coach. I'm begging you to tell us how his name's said. I think that's a big one. Yeah, especially if Port win by 5 or 6 goals.
Yeah. If it's a close one, we don't learn much. But if Port win by a bit at the G, oh boy,
it'd be really
meltdown areas for Collingwood.
Really concerning.
Not that I expect it to happen. I will be tipping Collingwood, and I expect them to win that game reasonably.
So will I. Again, I think Collingwood in the first 3 quarters of the game against GWS on the weekend looked like a football team. Just one that was maybe a little bit out of practice. And I know you kind of did it the other day. But cool. I'm hoping you've forgotten it.
I have completely forgotten it. So
here's a new segment promoting one of our friends on the internet, the Friday Footy Quiz.
Shout out Friday Footy
If
Quiz.
you haven't done it before, every Friday they post it. We did a guest question for them last year in the bye round before the finals. But it's just fridayfootyquiz.com, and every Friday there's a quiz. So here is the opening round quiz, and I'm going to ask Alistair.
The good thing is we're doing last week's quiz, so it's not like spoilers.
Yeah, so you can do it.
You've had time to do this.
And then you can figure out your score and come back and see if you were better than Alistair or not.
Probably.
Opening round this year, we'll see matches played exclusively in which state?
New South Wales.
That's correct. Who captained the Indigenous All-Stars team?
Michael Sonny Walters.
It was Michael Walters, and it should have been Jai Simpkin. Which club has 2 players starting the season within striking distance of their 300th game?
Now, this one almost
trick
got
question.
me. It's North Melbourne. It's
North
Jack
Melbourne.
Darling and Luke Parker.
It is, yes. How many first-round selections did Richmond take in, not 2, this got me, in the national draft this year?
Is it 5?
It's 6. They had 7.
I think I said 5 last time as well.
Which of these former Saints is at a new club for 2025? Seb Ross, Ben Patton, or Riley Bonner?
Unfair because opening round has
saw him
happened,
play
but it's Ben Patton.
Ben Patton, and I'm not sure he should have been, but that's okay. It could have been a bad game.
Yeah, give him a chance.
And that's it. That's halfway.
There's 10
10
questions.
Which ruckman became the league's only current 4-club player?
I have no idea.
Definition of journeyman, Tom Campbell.
Oh, Tom Campbell. Yep.
True or false, there has never been a premiership player named Alfred.
False.
I'll tell you, I forgot about the Cyclone when I read that question last week. It is false.
Oh, I was like, this is a strange question.
There have been 2, but not for 110 years.
Did one of them play for St Kilda? No, 110 years can't be.
No, yeah.
Not
Alfred
yet.
Bode and Alfred Bartlett. I wonder if that's a Bartlett
Maybe.
generational thing.
Maybe.
Shout out to me for being really smart and not realising that Rhett Bartlett was Kevin Bartlett's son for like 2 years. I was just like, I really like this Richmond like videos guy. He's like the Robo Linda of football. And no, he's just Kevin Bartlett's son who just really loves football history. Name the 2 years in the 2010s in which Sydney and Hawthorn played in the grand final.
Oh, 2012, 2014?
Yeah. 1-1 in that.
Yeah.
And by how many points did Collingwood beat GWS in the 2023 prelim?
1.
1, yeah. And then, I know you didn't get this one, which was name the next player in this sequence. Jaden Short, Bailey Fritsch, Patrick Dangerfield, and Kadeem Coleman.
I've already forgotten.
The answer is Lachie Neale.
Oh, runners
and
up
the
in the Brownlow.
sequence was runners-up in the Norm Smith.
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, it's really funny that like Fritsch should have been the giveaway, because I remember being like, you can't not win the Norm Smith if you kick 6 goals in a grand final.
Just off the cuff, something that's totally unrelated, but sort of, I forgot how much they ended up winning that game by.
Yeah.
I watched a
It was
little bit of
close at
highlights
halftime.
the other day. 140 to 60 something.
Yeah. In short quarters.
Yeah.
The turning point in that game... Oh, no, that wasn't short quarters. That was full length.
Full length.
Just
Just
in
the year
Perth.
after.
It's just in Perth. The turning point in that game was
You don't
Caleb
want to
Daniel...
think about what Dustin Martin would have done in full length quarters in 2020.
Yeah. The turning point was Caleb Daniel flipping Max Gawn on the boundary line.
Yeah.
That was the turning point in that game. It's very funny... Because like it felt the other way at that point.
Don't flip a 7-foot man.
It was like, damn, if Caleb Daniel was doing that to Max Gawn and the Bulldogs are in front, what's going to happen from here on out? Well, the Bulldogs aren't going to score. That's what's going to happen. It did feel like, as a Geelong fan who just watched Melbourne do that to my club, it felt a little better watching
See
that
it happen, yeah. Yeah.
Like there was a little bit of like, oh, they're just really good.
Oh, every year I'm like, well, this team beat my team, so it's all right.
Yeah, it's always
like
nice justification. Yeah. Couldn't lose in 2017. I was like, well, both of these teams smashed my club.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was 2020 was weird. We got to go to the Indigenous All Stars game in Perth.
No, it was
2 finals. 2021.
It was the
Oh no, sorry, it wasn't the All Stars. All Stars. It was the Doug Nicholls Dreamtime game.
Dreamtime
between
game.
Richmond and Essendon,
which was cool.
which was dope. We literally saw every team's jumper at that game.
Yeah, we were counting. It was
Yeah,
fun.
even a lot of waffle
Yeah,
teams.
we were struggling. We were searching for that Gold Coast
Gold
jumper.
Coast. We saw Gina West like as soon as we walked in. It was really funny, and then it was like, Gold Coast, where are you? And it was someone in like the weird away blue strip.
Hey, I would buy the pink one, so
Yeah,
maybe.
no, same. All the teams released their Clash strips this week, and some of them, well, they're all officially out now, and some of them are bad.
Did you see the Melbourne Guernsey
It's the same
with the shamrock on it?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Anyway,
The Melbourne one's just lighter. They're just like, here's our Clash jumper. It's lighter.
just wear
Remember
the
they had a white
stupid
one?
matchstick one.
Remember they had a white one? They had a white with the red V. That's a Clash jumper.
That's Sydney.
It did look a bit like Sydney. Actually, yeah, maybe that was it. The capital city fighting went too far.
They'll get sued.
Yeah, I saw something like Sydney won best coffee in them. It's not true.
I make
You don't
this
drink
coffee.
warm. You don't drink warm coffee. You
I
don't drink
can't.
warm
It's the
beverages.
devil's temperature.
The devil's temperature.
Can't do it.
But you mostly only eat hot foods.
Prove it.
Hot liquid bad. Hot solid? Good.
Yeah. Nothing better than a hot meal. That's what I always say.
Yeah. Is it?
No.
It is now.
Those are my catchphrases. I love to gamble and I love a hot meal. I'm just slowly filling out my dating profile as we do the podcast.
Next week you're going to be like, and I'm going to head up to Gold Coast later this year because I enjoy walks on the beach.
I hate the beach.
You don't like the beach.
Nah.
Yeah.
I like being in
far
the
away from the water as possible.
being in the public swimming pool so long that your fingers are wrinkly.
Oh, it's good.
I'll put
Lying
that on my profile.
underneath the mushrooms at Swan Aquatic.
Do they
I
still
think
have
they
those?
killed the mushrooms. I have
That's such a niche bit.
I have a gym and pool membership, and I haven't been into the pool once. We just had like a hot summer. I didn't go to the pool once.
Yeah, because it's too hard to leave the house.
Yeah, exactly. And
put
like
the
once I've got
aircon
at the
on,
gym,
what's
I just
the
want to
point?
be in the house. Yeah. Anyway, we got a full round of games this week. That's nice. We didn't even talk about round 24 and a half, but that'll happen.
Maybe we'll talk about that in round 24 and a half.
Maybe. Do a special round 24 and a half episode and we give one vote.
We're going to run through the train station ball to get to 24 and a half.
But yeah, we kind of talked about it last week anyway. It had been basically announced as we did the preview pod. But our calls on the pod, we both got both games wrong. I changed my tip before the game, but
I don't know why any of you are listening to us.
on air, so wrong. But we both won the footy tipping at my work last year, so first and second, baby. Let's go.
It's all about the comeback. You got to give them a false sense of security.
Yeah. Well, you can't. It's guesswork at the start. Anyway, as always, thanks for listening to The Back Pocket. You can find us at The Back Pocket AU on pretty much every social media that exists. Not the weird ones, just the reasonably normal ones.
We're not on Tumblr. We're not on
we
WeChat.
are actually.
Oh, we are? What are we posting on Tumblr?
Nothing. But there's an account. I forgot about it until the other day because I logged into my old account to see if it was still there. And then, like, you know how you have like your other accounts, and on the other side there was like my account that I used to do the music lyric stuff when I was in high school, and then there was The Back Pocket, and I was like, why? Anyway, that hasn't been touched since it was made. But if you want to follow it, you can. But you know, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram,
Just
Substack.
posting like M/M AFL fanfic on there.
Craig McRae, Adam Kingsley fix.
Get it in.
People will read the shit out of that. Anyway, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Bye.